Journalists swarm Elon's big balls employee who has been removed from the Doge team. And now there are calls to bring him back. In fact, there was a call from no less than, well, the vice president, J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump himself.
Cutting effort. One of the Doge engineers was fired for some inappropriate posts. The vice president says, bring him back. What do you say?
Well, I don't know about the particular thing, but if the vice president said that, did you say that? I'm with the vice president. Thank you, Peter.
So big balls may return. What happened here? You may be wondering what the heck is going on. Big balls is the pseudonym, perhaps the online nom de guerre, of a fellow who was working for Doge, a young man who under that pseudonym online years ago said some very dumb things. As people sometimes can do. And the Journos dug this up and created a whole stir about it. And now Elon has removed him from the team, but he's saying he might bring him back. Well, I think he absolutely should bring him back. And here's why. We should no longer live in a country where the journos, the left, the apparatus can just dig through everything that someone has ever written online and get them fired from their job. I know, yes, there will be exceptions to this where someone did something so bad that we'll have to say, okay. But the standard should really be, if you said something dumb, you apologize for it now. It was years ago. You should be able to continue in life as a human being without the consequences of the left coming after you. Keep in mind, there are a lot of people that say all kinds of crazy things that are horrible things that the left never goes after because this is just a political weapon for them. They'll find something you said at some point. It can be 10, 20 years ago. They don't care. Whatever it is, they'll find something and they will use it to destroy you. What's much more important here is that Elon is exposing what the Democrat apparatus really is, which is the self-licking ice cream cone of D.C. It's the swamp funding itself and its buddies via your tax dollars. It's wasting money while, think about this. Joe Biden's America was wasting all this money, didn't care at all, thought it was a great thing to waste all this money, trans puppet shows in Mongolia, etc. And also hired 70,000, 80,000 new IRS agents. So a lot more people to harass you and take your money with the threat of imprisonment against you while they're lighting money on fire that's your money. Right. That's the America that we're supposed to live in and think is okay. And we're just at the beginning of this. Doge is doing incredible work. I mean, this is something that everybody should want. Somebody who is an organizational and entrepreneurial genius, Elon Musk, looking at what is being done by the federal government in our name that is pointless, that is wasteful, that is corrupt, and showing it to us and taking action on it. I mean, I think it is absolutely incredible. And the fact that they're attacking these, here's CNN attacking this guy.
Yes, so this is a 19-year-old high school graduate who has used the unfortunate nickname Big Balls online. So that would be one way that we could refer to him. He is now working at Musk's behest inside Doge. And we looked into his background. And so we found, several notable things, Aaron, one of which is that this individual has founded multiple companies, including one with another unfortunate name, Tesla.Sexy LLC. Which he established in 2021. He would have been around 16 years old. Now, this LLC controls dozens of web domains.
And you say, why the heck is the fact that these guys are young such a big thing? A lot of the founders were in their 20s and 30s when the Constitution was written. We don't actually have to be in a society where people who can't make it up the stairs anymore make all the big decisions, which is really, unfortunately, what American politics has turned into. The boomers, these boomers never want to just spend time with the grandkids. Always want to be in power. Look at Pelosi. Look at Schumer. Look at Biden. You got what was her name? Feinstein. Feinstein couldn't even brush her own hair. She was still a sitting senator. Think about that. We got a real problem here. But it's so interesting to me. And we had a caller on Clay and Buck's show, so I want to give credit. I don't remember the caller's name, but he was a caller. Millions of people heard him, so he definitely gets the credit there. That the Democrats thought that we should all listen to Greta Thunberg on climate change. It was an incredibly complicated issue. Of course, not a crisis at all, She was 16 years old, giving lectures at the UN. You have stolen my dreams. You remember that? And that's okay. She's 16. We should listen to her. And if you criticize her, you're a monster. I remember even somebody, when I was on TV at Fox, yelled at me because I said that nobody should listen to Greta Thunberg. She said, don't pick on a kid. I'm not picking on a kid. I'm picking on the adults who listen to a kid. I was right. The person was wrong. She's no longer there. It doesn't matter. But do you see this stuff? It happens, right? The desire to go with your side no matter what the principle is that you may have established in some other context. The rules changing as you need them to change when you need them to change. It's how the Democrats play the game all the time. So we have to change these rules. Elon's Doge team, unless somebody does something unprofessional or, violates the expectations of what Doge is, they should be able to continue in this work. I don't care what somebody wrote online 10 years ago or whatever it is. I don't care. They're doing incredibly important stuff. They're not harming anybody. They are helping all of us, and they should be supported in this process. There's no question about it. I think it's essential. Trump, by the way, had some really funny moments, but during the press conference today with Prime Minister of Japan, we'll get into this, but also on the point about education costs, the left, you think the left is upset about USAID, just wait till we start looking at Department of Education and all the money that's flowing through there and just the whole education dysfunction in this country. But first, our sponsor here is the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. The ceasefire between defense forces and Hamas has removed Israel from the daily headlines, but that doesn't mean there aren't tens of thousands of Israeli citizens still displaced and still suffering from the 15-month war. Between what we've witnessed in Israel and the rise in global anti-Semitism and the constant attacks on Israel, it shows us that it's more important than ever to remember the atrocities of the Holocaust to ensure it never happens again. That's why I've partnered with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. They provide food, shelter, and safety to Jews in Israel and around the world, including those remaining Holocaust survivors. Please give a gift today to show your support of the Jewish people. Go to supportifcj.org. That's one word, supportifcj.org, or call 888-488-IFCJ, 888-488-IFCJ. Here's Trump on education and Maxine Waters. He speaks about her as well.
You mentioned the Department of Education. What do you think when you saw Democratic lawmakers trying to get into the Department of Education earlier today?
Oh, I see the same ones. I see Maxine Waters, a lowlife. I see, all these people. They don't love our country. They don't love our country. We want great education. So they rank 40 countries in education. We're ranked dead last. But the good news is we're number one in one category. You know what that is? Cost per pupil. We spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. You look at Norway, Denmark, Sweden, various countries all up and down, Finland, China does very well in education. And then you look at us. We spend much more money than they do per pupil or any other way. But we spend much more money than they do, and yet we're ranked this year, Biden's last year, congratulations, Joe, we're ranked dead last.
Okay, so first of all, I think it's funny. He calls Maxine Waters a lowlife. It's so Trump. But beyond that, let's take a look. Why do we spend so much money? Why do we spend so much money on education in this country and get results that are clearly not what they should be based upon the dollars in, dollars out? I'm telling you, yeah, there's a big conversation. I will admit that it's a big conversation. But a part of it is, do you know that administrative personnel have increased something like 6 times the rate of actual teachers in the public school system in this country? So just the way that they've done with these NGOs and USAID and this money just sloshing around for people who don't really do anything, that's what the education system in this country has become, especially in the blue states. But they even in red states, there are blue staters, if you will. There are Democrats who control the education system. And it doesn't have to be this way. The Department of Education, it's so funny. People say, well, all the schools are going to shut down if you defund the Department of Education. What does DOE even do? The funds for your local public school come from the state overwhelmingly. So it's not that the federal government funds local public schools. This is why you pay your property taxes, and a huge part of your property taxes in a lot of places goes toward the public schools in your district. So DOE could go away tomorrow, and it wouldn't make a darn bit of difference, except there'd be one less DEI obsessed communist nest inside of the government, which sounds like a great thing to me. But you're talking about so much money being spent, and it never gets better. We just spend more and more and more money. No one ever thinks about how to make it better. You know who might be able to make things better? Somebody like Elon Musk, somebody who looks at dollars and cents, inputs, outputs, what's actually happening, what the product is, what the expenditures are, and makes determinations to improve it, make it better, and do it better than anybody else. Now, I'm not saying, Elon doesn't have a background in education. First of all, most people have a background in education and don't really know anything. All right. Meaning people that study education. Yeah, there are exceptions. There are great teachers. I get all that. But people who are administrators, who have it, like Dr. Jill Biden with her PhD in education. You think she knows anything? She's a total ignoramus. The whole degree was a joke, but it's meant to give you access into the system. So then you're a doctor, you're a PhD, you have to be treated seriously, you have to be given perks and certain kind of pay, and the whole thing, scam, whole thing. So this should be changed as well. If you start to pull apart, and the education system in this country is because of the public sector, public school teachers unions, which are public sector unions, because of them, there's so much funding and money that goes to Democrats from the local all the way up to the federal level for political races. A huge source of donations, a huge source of street muscle, getting votes out, protests, all this are the teachers unions. If you can start to just start to tap on the outer shell of that a little bit, you start to go after them a little bit, Democrats will lose their minds. These are the systems, these are the things that are in place that allow them to get their way and to effectively be in charge even after they lose elections. So if you can begin to change this, you're in a much better place. Sponsor is Birch Gold. I think things are going to be great under Trump with the economy, but he's only going to be president for 4 years. We got $36 trillion of debt. And I want you to think about where your savings is going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And diversifying into gold just makes sense. Look at the track record of gold over the last 30 years and look where the price is today. With a dollar that is still in decline and being inflated away, gold makes sense. And I trust the Birch Gold Group. This is the company that's released the all-new Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. Get your free copy along with Birch Gold's free information kit on gold by texting my name, Buck, to 989898 or go online to birchgold.com/Buck. That's text my name, Buck, to the number 989898 or go online to birchgold.com/Buck for your free copy of the Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era. No obligation, only information. All right. Hope you have a great weekend. I'll talk to you after the Super Bowl, which I'm predicting the Eagles will win. I know people are going to yell at me for that, but I like to be a contrarian sometimes. Have a great one. Shields high.